Welcome to the Reality Revolution. I'm your host, Brian Scott. Today we're going to talk about understanding and mastering the process and the art of manifestation. Manifestation is a word sometimes I've been hesitant to use. If you read my book, The Reality Revolution, The Mind-Blowing Movement to Hack Your Reality, you'll notice I did not use that word very often in a recent video. I addressed the conundrum, why you're not manifesting. That seemed to resonate with a lot of people. So I'm going to use that word a little bit more. But really, you're not necessarily manifesting because the word kind of implies something coming from nothing. You're really choosing something that already exists. But that's just words. The process of understanding and mastering the art of manifestation is the road to self-empowerment and ultimate power. Through this process, you'll be able to redirect your energy to create and manifest whatever you want with your life. This process will take the guesswork out of manifestation and bring the power back to you. Your only dilemma will be in deciding what you want. The rest is easy. Without exception, the single most important step in the process of manifestation is deciding what you want. That's something that I've struggled with. I might know all the dynamics, all the techniques, all the ways in which I can create my reality, but what sort of reality do I want to create? Over the years, as I've worked with people to help them create the life they want, I have become aware of the power of decision. For many, the only thing they really needed to do was to decide what it was they really wanted. Once they decided, boom, instantaneous manifestation. The universe loves a made-up mind and will often deliver instantaneously when you do. A lot of people that are struggling out there haven't really decided what it is they want. They kind of want this thing, but they're lukewarm on it, so it's not for sure, and that is one thing to consider. The key is to understand how difficult that may be for you. So many people have no idea what they truly want. So they just kind of bounce from job to job, relationship to relationship, or from one situation to the next, feeling totally lost. When you become more decisive in your approach to life, you get more done. When you become more decisive in your approach to manifestation, you always get what you want. When you definitely and definitively decide the direction you want your life to go, life gets easier. So the question is, I'm asking you, what do you really want? I recommend taking some time to yourself and getting clear about what you really want. Sometimes it's as easy as making a list of the material items that you'd like to have in your life. Easy enough. But don't you also want to live a more rewarding, creative, and passionate life as well? It always starts with material things that you want, but then once you have those things, it's so much more that you need. And sometimes there's a part of you that really doesn't want those material things. So what do you really want? My experience is that most people want a rewarding, creative, and passionate life. Most people are not creating their life exactly the way they want it because they have not made the firm decision to do so. This means that you want the change, but are unwilling to make the decision to take responsibility for that change. When you decide unequivocally, without a doubt, upon the specific direction you want to go in, then you will take the necessary actions to effect that change. However, there will be no change without your firm commitment via a real decision about what you want. To put it simply, you cannot manifest anything without really wanting it. For example, when I was younger, I always wanted to make money. However, I hated taking on too much responsibility and enjoyed my freedom. These conflicting wants created a lot of strife for me because I wanted the good life, but was unwilling to take the responsibility of creating it. This manifested as my going through the process of getting hired at various jobs, only to get fired shortly thereafter. After being fired from several jobs, I realized that something wasn't working for me. I began to realize that money was important to me, but was more important was having my freedom. So I decided to start a business on my own. And that's when I felt that freedom. It was fun. And I focused on selling books at the time. And I found a fun way to do it and enjoyed it. In order to know what you want, it's a good idea to be honest with yourself. Sometimes all you really want is to make more money, which provides you with more choices. That is completely fine and always extremely rewarding. Everyone should have the opportunity to make as much money as they want. No exceptions. I see comments all the time that question the desire to make money. It has a spiritual component. Money is God in action. Stop feeling guilty about it. However, I often find that people want more than just to have enough money. People want the feeling of achievement and fulfillment. Most people want to feel as if they've completed something of value, and they want to feel joy about what they do. A friend of mine is a medical doctor who had decided to take a hiatus from her work. While I was talking to her, I began to understand that she was really quite distraught about her career. She was talking to me about how she really enjoyed visiting art museums. I couldn't help but notice that all the stress and tension had left her voice. She sounded enthusiastic and passionate. So a thought came to mind. You know, there's the theory that the greatest success in life is what is closest to your heart. She started to see what I was saying and was very excited, saying it made a lot of sense. As a result of that conversation, she came to realize she always loved museums and artwork. Later on, I found out that she had decided to pursue a career as a museum curator. Every time I talked to her, she seemed super happy. For her, the answer wasn't the high-pressure, high-paying job of being a doctor. It was following her passion of working with artwork in museums. I happen to think that becoming a doctor or healer is one of the most valuable things a person can do with their lives. But if you're pursuing a career only for the money, it may not be as rewarding or fulfilling. In order to manifest something, anything at all, you need to know what you want. The universe cannot deliver something to you if you are undecided about what you want. Now, if you decide to create something that you only partially want, meaning that you're not completely committed to it, that your heart's not into it, it may take a long time to manifest. In the case of my friend, the doctor, she was forced to take a hiatus to try to figure out what she really wanted. A hiatus is good, but if you're forced to take one, it could be because you're doing something that you don't really want to be doing. If you're experiencing any signs or symptoms such as chronic fatigue, depression, irritability, not making enough money, overcompensating on the weekends with heavy partying, internet gaming, drinking, smoking, gambling, or anything at all you find yourself doing obsessively, that is a sign that perhaps you're not happy in the job that you have. For example, let's say you're a customer service specialist in an IT tech company and you decided to manifest a management promotion. You may have some trouble manifesting this promotion if it's not what you really want. You're stuck in the company and you always dream that you get a little bit better job and move up to manager. But is it really what you want? If what you really want is to be an independent music producer or a writer, you most likely will find that it takes you longer to manifest the IT management position. What happens here is that your growing desire to become a music producer will interfere with your desire to gain a management position in your company. The desire is key. The desire is a feeling element that the possibility or potential of that thing that you want is available to you in the multiverse. If you have conflicting desires and are unclear about what you really want, it's going to take a lot longer for you to manifest. Any sort of confusion or cloudiness about what you want will slow down or completely stop your manifestation. The confusion you experience when you are unclear about what you want in this moment serves to lower your vibrational rate of attraction. How excited do you feel about life when you're confused about what you want? The more clear you are about what you want in this moment, the faster your manifestation time will be. Your reality creation will come to a screeching halt until you decide exactly what it is you want right now. In this instance, if your burning desire is to own your own music production company, that is what you need to focus on. State your intention out loud to the universe, to God. This way you will begin to harness all of the available energy to utilize in the manifestation of your desire. When you are completely decided on what it is you want, you'll be amazed at the short turnaround time. Because most people are unclear about where they want to wind up down the road and what they want to do with the rest of their lives, a great way to free up that energy is to let it go. Maybe you haven't really decided what it is you want and you don't know. That's fine. Instead, decide what would be the most fun and beneficial to you right now in this moment. I love the concept of segmenting that Abraham Hicks talks about in her book, Ask and It Is Given, and in her lectures. What you do is break up your life into smaller segments and decide how you want each segment to be. It's okay if you do not know what you want to do with your whole life. Take the pressure off by thinking about what you would like to do right now instead. Not only does this take pressure off your life, it also brings fun and creativity back in. It serves to release resistance to the present moment by allowing you to flow your energy freely again by focusing on what you want. I find it really invigorating to completely change gears, scrap the idea of thinking about what I need to do with the rest of my life, and instead just think about what I would like to do for the next couple of months or couple years. Doing this can provide you with a much needed freedom to create yourself anew and give yourself a break from having to figure it all right now. It's a lot of pressure, just like it was when you were in college. What am I going to do for the rest of my life? I'm going to get this one degree and it's going to be what I do for the rest of my life. That's a lot of pressure. Another area that may snag you up is the idea of thinking that there's something you should be doing. You should be doing only what you want to do. In other words, there is nothing you are supposed to be doing with your life. We can put this another way. You are only really doing what you're supposed to be doing when you are doing what you really want to be doing. When you are doing what you really want to be doing, you are the closest to your heart center. Your heart knows what you really want to be doing. Coincidentally, when you are close to your heart center, you are also the happiest and the most enthusiastic. In turn, you radiate more positive energy and uplift the people around you. Many of my friends, including myself, have struggled off and on with this concept in our lives. I used to sit and just meditate all day, every day, on what I was supposed to be doing with my life or what I could be doing. Long ways in the future. The only thing that would happen to me is I would accumulate greater debts, more credit card debt, more bills, and that sucked. It was terrible. Eventually, I realized I needed to decide upon the course of action I would take with my life. Even though I still didn't know what I ultimately wanted to do with my life, I decided to take some action. Some bold action. As a result, I became more productive. The truth was, I enjoyed my life much more than I finally got off my butt and started moving in the direction of what I wanted right now. I meet many spiritual seekers that wander around asking themselves, what am I supposed to be doing? The idea that you're supposed to do something is what I would say a myth. I'm here to tell you once and for all, the only thing you should be doing is what you want to do. If you sit around and meditate about it all day, you're going to wind up depressed and broke. Often people have distorted ideas about spiritual freedom. I just want to be free is a common phrase, but many people do not understand what true freedom really means. Unwittingly, many seekers misapply the concept of spiritual freedom to validate their victim consciousness. Total freedom looks completely different from sitting around broke with nothing to do except to meditate on being spiritual. Total freedom comes from mastering every area of your life and giving yourself the choices to do or be whatever you want, whenever you want, however you want. I have met people who are, in my opinion, true spiritual masters. What sets them apart is not that they are superhuman or completely deprived of material items, but rather they have mastered the areas of their life. They have manifested abundance in their work, their finances, their emotional well-being, their relationships, their mental faculties, and also their spiritual foundation. They're still human and can be vulnerable to negative thinking. I have never met a master that is perfect, but their lives are well integrated and they are generally not unconsciously reactive. They are aware of their own reactions. In other words, they are free from the idea of lack or limitation. So why do you want what you want? Your next step is to figure out why you want what you want. Doing this can help you to become more clear about what you really want, or if you even really want it at all. A lot of people say they want to become rich and famous. I like to ask the question, why? Why do you want to become rich and famous? Do you really have a true burning desire within you to be a superstar, or is it that you're trying to fill your missing sense of self with external validation? In my opinion, a great many people are trying to become something they simply are not. Each and every one of us is already a superstar waiting to manifest. It's more a matter of uncovering the superstar within yourself rather than seeking something outside of you. There's a star sector concept that I discussed in a previous episode. In the eyes of Vadim Zealand, everyone is a superstar in a certain timeline. And if you find your own vibe within yourself, following it in the way I'm talking about, you'll end up being a superstar no matter how you look or what's going on. Look at Jack Black. He's a superstar. In many timelines, I'm sure, Jack Black is just that dude that's out of shape. But in reality, he's perfectly on the path for him to express himself, to be that superstar that he really is. So we're uncovering the superstar within yourself. Everyone deserves to have everything they want. But a lot of people confuse what they really want with unconscious motivation and programming from our childhood. I have met many people that sought out something they really wanted and then realized later, I guess I really didn't want that. It's something I thought I wanted since I was a kid. And so you don't question it. If you think about it, much of the struggle and strife in this world comes from the actions of people who are continually seeking external validation and approval, along with building up their ego image. These behaviors stem from unhealed emotional wounds, which drive us to look outside of ourselves for a sense of meaning. Many of us end up working our butts off, trying to get someone else's attention or approval. We may not even love what we do, but we are driven to succeed so that we can gain approval and validation from someone else. When you're doing what you're doing for external validation, it will always be a struggle because no one can never give you enough of that validation. If you have a YouTube channel and you are looking for more likes or views on your video, it will never be enough. You'll never feel the validation of it. When you are doing what you're doing because you love it, the activity or job will seem easy and perhaps even effortless. Once in a while, your search for external validation can lead you to stumble across a career path or business idea that really does provide you with a sense of self. However, that's usually only the case because you already knew yourself, and you've done the work, and you become magnetic to something that represents who you are. It is okay to want something because you need to prove to yourself that you can do it or attain it. This behavior is only unhealthy when you are doing it to prove to others that you can do it or attain it. In this case, you are striving for external validation as the meaning of your existence. Even after you achieve it, you'll still feel something missing inside of you. On top of that, you will have expended tons of energy trying to prove to or impress other people that you're good enough. Another reason you may not be clear about what you really want is that you might be attempting to manifest something out of fear. You may be fearful that you will not be able to make a living in your desired occupation, or that you will never find a mate who truly loves and respects you. So you have a bit of poverty consciousness or a belief in limitation of some sort that says you need to take what you can get. If the bills are due now, and I mean right now, like in a week, then your first manifestation will need to be getting the bills paid. However, if your bills are paid right now, but you're scared that you won't be able to pay them in the future, then it is time to let go of the fear. Instead, create out of your desire to express yourself and become something more. Create out of the joy and the passion of redefining yourself and becoming more than you have ever been. Your ability to do this will open you up to a completely new perspective from which you will view the world. If you're attempting to create a relationship out of the fear of being alone, you could also refer to this as a sort of poverty consciousness with love. Again, poverty consciousness is the belief in lack, in limitation, that there is not enough. It is impossible for someone else to get or have the resources that are available for you. Thus, there are plenty of available partners out there for you. However, your belief in limitation will cause you to reach for the first available one without even getting clear on what you want. So many times, I have seen people desperately wanting to fall in love, and they go on their first Tinder date, and then that's the one, and then they fall in love. It happens all the time. I mean, it's true that nobody wants to be alone, but the difference is creating from a space of wanting versus a fear-based space of needing. If you're able to take the time to get clear about what you want before you jump into a relationship, you can become magnetic AF to a higher version of yourself. You'll be consciously and purposely creating your own reality. For example, you might say that you wanted a person who loves to mountain bike, to tango dance, and cuddle on the couch to watch movies on Sundays. You might also add that you want someone who has a great sense of humor and loves to laugh at everything in life. Conversely, you might want someone who is more serious-minded, who will take your requests seriously and pay more attention to your requests within the relationship. There is no wrong thing to want. Only unconscious and conscious wanting or needing. If you take the time to figure out what you want and create the space necessary to consciously manifest it, then you will be rewarded with exactly what you want. If you're creating from a place of fear, you will never truly create exactly what you want. It's kind of like putting off your dreams to keep yourself safe. Behind every fear, there lays a reward. Truly, every time I've ever moved through my fear, there's been a great reward waiting on the other side. Sometimes, in order to create what you really want, you will need to confront your deepest fears. It may even mean taking chances. A lot of times I find the greatest success when I know what I want and I have to take a chance. When I take the chance, it's always worth it. All of the most successful people in the world became successful because they are willing to take chances. You may be scared to actually declare what you truly want. In my experience, the biggest single emotional wound that most people have in common is the deserving and worthiness issue. Almost everyone I've ever met or worked with has had deserving and worthiness issues to one degree or another, including myself. For a long time, I had a very low view of myself for things that I had done. I felt so guilty and terrible about that I had deeply declared a very powerful subconscious belief had taken over that I was not worthy of this manifestation, and I would always push it away subconsciously. Sometimes it's a matter of putting all the pieces together so that you can clearly see what you want and why you want it, so that you can effectively clear yourself of any issues that may be holding you back from manifesting your heart's desire. No matter what, the single best exercise for getting clear on what you want is by making a list on a piece of paper. It's not complicated. There's not some secret technique to figuring out what you want. Just start writing it down. This will always assist the manifestation process and sift through any mental clutter. Remember, include everything that you want. You don't have to justify or rationalize anything to anyone. Don't judge it or question what other people will think about your list. Just write down what you want. Decide what it is that you really want right now versus what you want later. I like the idea of 1 to 2 year segments in your life. When you do this, it will speed up your manifestation and take the pressure off your decision-making process. It's okay if you do not know what you want to do for the rest of your life or where you want to wind up in 10 years. Again, take the pressure off and instead just decide what you want to do right now. In other words, what's most important to you in this moment? Have fun with it and completely reinvent yourself if you like. Figure out why you want what you want. What is behind your driving desire or need to experience this outcome? If it's more money, then why? If it's a new career, then why? If it's a new partner, why? There is no right or wrong answer. Just ask yourself that question. After you figure out why you want what you want, write it down. If you can't think of a good enough reason to want it, you won't manifest it. In other words, if you want a new car, but you can't justify getting it, then this will help you to identify that. It will help you to understand if you're not feeling deserving or worthy or having what you want, or if you are creating from a place of fear. Now write down how having each of these items or manifested outcomes in your life will make you feel. When you start to visualize and manifest in the ways that you've already probably heard about, especially if you listen to my podcast, you may not be able to bring up the feeling of what it is you want. So I recommend writing it down. How will it make you feel? How will it enhance your life and bring you joy? Be very descriptive. Include both emotional feelings and physical feelings as well. How would you breathe? How would it feel on your face? Take a moment to see if you can feel what it's like to have the things on your list already manifested. You get into the feeling place of it by completely visualizing yourself in the desired circumstance as if you have already manifested it. What textures do you feel? What do you smell? What do you see? How does it feel to have this thing? If you want to be in Maui, you feel the sand in your feet, the warm water touching your feet. You see the palm trees looking out on the ocean and the islands ahead. The feeling is the secret. Check out my episode by Neville Goddard. We read that amazing book. And vibrationally speaking, the manifestation process is keyed into your feelings. Writing them down is clear. Vibrationally speaking, relationships have the ability to show us exactly where our vibrational rate of attraction is. You will never get a clearer picture of what you are attracting to yourself from your unconscious beliefs and your emotional wounds than when you are in a relationship. This is your biggest mirror and the most primary indicator of where you are in your conscious awareness of self. Your partner will show you where your areas of greatest resistance lie. They will also show you what level of consciousness you are attracting to yourself. Your outer experience is always only a reflection of your inner beliefs and emotional wounds, likes and dislikes. When you consider the people you have chosen for relationships thus far, you may feel that you met them through a chance encounter or that it was purely physical attraction that drew you together. But if you look a little deeper, you will no doubt recognize certain repeating patterns in your relationships. This is the indication that something in your psyche or energy field or vibration was a deciding factor in drawing the two of you together. Most people do not take the time out between relationships, or indeed at all, to decide and list all the things they want in a partner. Check out my episode on the love revolution, and also read the chapter in my book called The Love Revolution. And that is an important part of this process. Go through and write down all the things you want with your partner. It worked with me. I am deeply in love, and I wrote down all the things I wanted. Somebody that's creative and loving, and all of the different parts of my partner came through when I manifested her. It may somehow feel impersonal to create a person on a piece of paper, and yet this is the single greatest thing that you could do for yourself when it comes to attracting a life partner. When you do this, you're clearly saying that it is you who will choose the person who will be spending your life with. What is meant here is that you, not your emotional wounds and limiting subconscious beliefs, will be the deciding factor. Just think about it. Would you rather choose or have your emotional wounds choose for you? You cannot stop sending out your own unique signal to the universe. You're always doing it, all the time. And since you're always broadcasting whether you like it or not, you might as well tailor the signal to meet your highest expectation rather than allowing it to broadcast from the default mechanism inside you. Some confusion may arise at first when you sit down to do this great thing. The confusion usually arises from the realization that you may have never truly committed to finding the one that you want to be with. Why is it that the most successful matchmaking companies are the ones that charge the most money? Many of them charge thousands of dollars. I'm not talking about one of those networks where it's just a society of rich people. I'm referring to the more serious and spiritually minded companies that make you commit to their program with a huge monetary payment. Many will scoff at the idea of paying a large sum of money to meet someone special and feel there's something inherently wrong with this idea. However, I have observed thus far a higher degree of committed and long-lasting relationships from those endeavors. And why is this? It's because committing to a large sum of money is committing to finding the one. Are you committed to finding the one that you want to be with? You don't need to have an expensive matchmaking company, but you need to have that commitment to finding them. You also want to attract people that are committed to doing it as well, instead of just dating around. You have to believe that you're worth having everything you want out of a life partnership as well. You have to believe that the universe is limitless in its capacity to deliver what you want. You have to believe that as you write down what you want, you're in the process of changing the signal that you're putting out into the universe. You can't write it down without it affecting your vibrational rate of attraction. It's impossible. You may find a certain amount of resistance to doing this if you feel that you are unready or undeserving, and that resistance is important to become aware of. You may already be in a relationship. By now you may be feeling that things are not exactly the way you want them to be, so much so that you're not sure that this person is your life partner. I believe that any person can be your life partner. It is more a matter of how much resistance there is in your day-to-day existence with them. Generally speaking, if there is a weekly or daily strife within your relationship, then it is time to take a look. If while still in your relationship you were doing the exercise of writing down everything you want in your life partnership, you would find one of the two things happen. First of all, this person would begin to actually transform, or secondly, this person would fade from your reality so that your true partner could arrive. It can be terrifying to think about, especially if you really, really want the person you have now to be the one. However, Severe attachment is not coming from your higher self, but rather from your lower self. Only your lower self believes in limitation, abandonment, and all of the things that would keep you tethered to something that does not serve your highest good. If you're in a relationship that is almost but not quite what you want, and you undertake exercises that will elevate your vibrational rate of attraction, change will be inevitable. You simply have to believe that you are actually and truly worthy of having someone who honors your highest good as you would theirs. Everyone is worthy of this. It is simply a matter of recognizing and claiming it. You cannot change the other person, but you can elevate your own vibrational rate of attraction, and doing so will always serve your highest good. Doing this is the single greatest gift you can give yourself. You will become magnetic to a higher vibrational circle of people. There's no judgment, only what serves your highest good and what does not. Every step of consciousness awareness serves the purpose of further learning and teaching, and change is only necessary if you are not happy where you are. Before we go any further, let's clarify the difference between wanting something as opposed to yearning for it. Traditionally, to be in a constant state of wanting is to never be happy with what you have or where you are. In this state, you're never in the now. You're always in the future somewhere. As your point of power is now in this moment, it is in your best interest to understand what genuine wanting really is. A genuine want is an expectant feeling of having something that appeals to you. This means that you, in your wanting, know that you can attain it. You may conceive that it will require a lot of work ahead to achieve it, or very little. Regardless, you are experiencing a state of joy as you think of this thing because you are genuinely wanting it. Energetically, this state of joy has a higher vibration, which actually serves to attract the thing you are wanting in your life. What are you not doing, however, is to wish you had this thing or circumstance, all the while knowing that you never will. That is yearning. If you find yourself observing something you want and at the same time feeling negatively about the possibility of it ever coming to you, you're in a state of yearning. And in this state, you are the farthest from genuine wanting that you could possibly be. Here, you're disallowing the flow of your own energy by not believing that you could ever achieve or have this thing in your life. This stems from frustration and pain of not allowing yourself to do, be, or have what you want in your life. When you really want something in a genuine, unimpeded way, it's very exciting. You feel pumped at the prospect of eventually attaining this thing or achieving the goal. When you're yearning for something that is only the disempowering feeling of wanting something that you know you will never have. Generally speaking, yearning is a great way to block all the good that can come to you. Yearning is the same thing as importance, but I like the way of understanding it a little bit better. If you add too much importance to something, you'll never get it as well. Yearning is a great way to block all the things that you want. And the reason for this is that you are emitting a lower vibrational energy field while in the process observing something that you want. In other words, you're repelling the outcome that you want with a vibrational energetic field that does not match it. Conversely, when you declare that you want something with excitement and enthusiasm, it is already on the way. The vibrational dynamics of the universe are such that you have set your manifestation power in motion. The universe always delivers what you think about and believe in, most of the time. When you genuinely want something, you are also believing that you can have it, as long as you genuinely want and believe that thing most of the time. So let's say that you're ready to meet your soulmate. I mean, you're really ready. You've been reading all the soulmate books that you can, and you know about how to attract, and you're fired up. You are in this moment genuinely wanting a soulmate. You're excited about it, which means you're also probably having visual images about it as well. It's exciting. So you head out to the bookstore, pick out a magazine, and sit down to start reading. Looking up, you notice a cute couple across from you, all lovey-dovey, cuddled up next to each other, reading. Here's where a problem could arise. For some reason, it doesn't feel good to see these people so in love. It's a bit of irony, you might say, because they have what you want, and yet you are definitely not feeling positive about seeing these people involved in what you want to be involved in. doing what you would like to be doing. Why is this? In this moment, you have fallen prey to the feeling of yearning. What happens here is a chain reaction. Your first impression is seeing something you want. What quickly follows, however, is that you observe this thing to be outside of yourself, meaning you perceive this thing or event as not being yours to have. It is someone else's. Unfortunately, since you have been wanting this thing for so long, you begun to believe that you will never have it. Thus, seeing someone else having something you want, something you believe you cannot have, becomes painful. After the feelings of yearning, you may begin to experience other, even more negative feelings and emotions. You may actually start to judge other people for having what you want. Then you may begin to resent them from feeling as if they have a better life than you do. As I said in a previous episode, if you're starting to judge or resent, then that means you're not going to manifest what you want. You may even begin to feel anger towards them for getting to experience what you wish to experience. Now, in this moment, you have completely forgotten about your genuine want of having your own soulmate in your own life. The key here is to embrace seeing the thing you want whenever you see it. If you're seeking riches and you see someone else that is rich, embrace that. It doesn't matter where you see it, who has it, or how much it costs. Your only objective is to embrace it by getting excited about it. Praise God for creating it so that you could know it even existed. It took me some practice to master this, because there were so many things I wanted that I hadn't allowed myself to have. Whenever I actually saw someone else who had it, the experience was challenging for me. Also, being raised in a family who had poverty consciousness as a way of life, I always wanted to have money. Some money, any money at all, would do. Thank you. Creating a wonderful, rewarding, and harmonious, intimate relationship was also important to me. After wanting these things for so long enough without getting them, I got tired of seeing them in other people's lives. It became even more painful as my genuine wanting turned into yearning. For a long time, I was unable to get past this. So I continued avoiding situations where I would be forced to be around people who had what I wanted. I didn't want to see them or feel my negativity, and I didn't want to pretend that I was happy that they had what I didn't. Intellectually, I understood the difference between yearning and genuine wanting, but I just couldn't seem to get past my strong feelings of resentment. How do we identify these things that we do that sabotage our own manifestation process? And the best way to identify any unconscious belief and sabotage mechanism that may be blocking you from successful manifestation is to use your want list. You can use this list to pinpoint any unconscious resistance you may be experiencing and heal it, thus opening the way for you to manifest the items on your list. First, either use your existing list of wants or write down a list of wants. The best way to do this is to be free as possible with the things you include on your list. Be completely unrealistic. Make this list completely outlandish. This is not the place for your inner critic or censor. This is the place for your inner artist or inner child to go crazy and have fun. Next, to each of the items, write down why you can't have it. Figure out a reason why you should not be able to have this thing. If you can't find a reason, then you should already have this thing or be able to manifest it pretty quickly. Write down at least one reason per item on your list. From this point, take each reason why you can't have the item on your list and write down the exact opposite of it. For example, if you wanted to manifest your soulmate or life partner or twin flame, and your reason for not having them in your life was that you felt you're not worthy, write down that you are worthy. This is challenging, so be prepared for the feelings that come up when you do it. It could be that what comes up next is that you feel like you are unready. If this feels right, then you will know by the good feeling you get by deciding to wait a while. If it doesn't feel good and you still feel like you want to have your soulmate now, then continue writing down more reasons why you can't have this. If you ever can't figure out a reason why you can't have something, then point blank ask yourself, why can't I have it? The answer will always come. When things come up like I'm not worthy or it's not time yet, it'll be a bad time to meet someone. That is a good thing. That's great. Now you know why you don't have your life partner yet. Knowledge is always power. So now you get to either decide that you're not ready or decide that you are ready and write it down. For every reason you come up with for why you cannot have something, write down the exact opposite reason. In this manner, you will discover many, if not all, of the unconscious beliefs and sabotage mechanisms that keep you from creating what you want. From that point, you get to decide if it's a good enough reason to not create it or have it. If, for example, you decide that you're not ready for some big thing or event, it may be that you are really unprepared and need some time. Now you'll become conscious of your unconscious and are in a more powerful position to create what you want. Going down your list of wants in this way will quickly establish why you don't have all the things that you want in your life. Each time you rewrite a reason for not having it into a reason for having it, you are reprogramming your neural network. Each time you do this, you're bringing yourself closer to having the desired outcome. You can continue on and go further with this exercise for what you may feel are bigger, more challenging manifestations. Say you want to become the CEO of your company and you're presently only a customer service rep. You may find many reasons why you can't have the CEO position in your company. And yet, as you do the exercise of rewriting all the reasons you can't have this position into reasons why you can, you'll be amazed at the changes that happen in your life. You'll witness unexplained synchronicities and changed attitudes and behaviors around you and towards you, all leading you to the desired position. This is an excellent technique for uncovering a great deal of unconscious beliefs or motivations. For example, I, for a long time, didn't believe I could ever have a YouTube channel. I wanted to. I yearned for it. And I would always have the excuse, there's too many other channels. It's too hard to create videos. Nobody will actually watch my content. I'm not a very good speaker. And I would always go through these beliefs. And I had these beliefs for a decade. It took me a long time to overcome those beliefs just to start my YouTube channel. You are deserving and worthy more than you realize. Go through your list and the reasons that you can't have what you want to manifest and see if you can release them. Ask yourself, can I release this feeling? Can I let go of this belief? Give yourself a full minute when you ask this question to really think about it. And then say the opposite. I am worthy and deserving of the life that I want, or whatever it is. I'm strong enough, whatever it is. I'm smart enough, if that's what you have to say. See the feelings that this statement brings up. See if you can allow yourself to feel the positive or negative feelings that come up. The next step in the process of manifestation can be difficult, but it is a vital component to the process. Allow your manifestation to happen in its own time and in its own way. Strictly speaking, this part of the process has nothing to do with you and everything to do with the mechanics of the universe and the creator. When you put the energy of creation through thought out into the universe with the intention of manifesting a specific outcome, the only thing left to do is to allow the universe to deliver. When God created the earth, on the seventh day, he rested, allowing the earth to finalize its own creation. You have to allow the process. You have to keep the Sabbath. A common question asked by many people is, why hasn't it happened yet? The answer to that question is almost always because you haven't allowed it to happen yet. It's hard to just state your intention and then let it go. Oftentimes there's a lot of hoping and wishing that completely contradicts and cancels out this process. If you hope and wish for something, then you aren't really believing you can create whatever you want. Everyone was born with this ability, so it makes no sense to hope for something that is already yours. The only thing, you really need to learn how to harness this power to purposely create the life that you want. And besides, proper prayer is not begging for something, it is affirming it and knowing it. You do not need to beg or plead for what is already yours. You merely need to get clear on what it is that you want, state your intention to manifest it, then allow the universe to deliver it to you after you feel it and imagine it. The imagination is the way that you create your reality. When you imagine it, and in your imagination, those subconscious feelings come up, and you believe that you can have it and that it is yours, it will outpicture itself into your life. A small side note is detachment from outcome. So much can be said about achieving detachment from the outcome of your efforts to manifest. When you're totally detached from the outcome of your intended manifestation, you can then allow it to manifest in its own time and in its own way. People who have mastered the ability to completely detach from the outcome of their intended manifestations enjoy 100% turnaround. Or you might say every time they intend to manifest something, they get it. What quantum physicists have found is that when a human being focuses their attention upon something, they're actually freezing it in space-time. Not only that, but your attention will fix it in place and expand it. In other words, when you dwell upon a particular thought, whether it be something helpful or harmful to your well-being, you will expand that thought in your consciousness. As you expand that thought in your consciousness, you become magnetic to the emotional charge that particular thought or line of thinking is creating for you. As an example, if you're between jobs, over your ears in debt, and you'll have much difficulty if you cannot detach from the idea of your debt. Trust me, I know. Now, occasionally someone can use their tough circumstance to suddenly pull themselves up by their bootstraps and overcome the odds. However, what people generally do is to focus with growing concern upon their debt and unpaid bills. It only makes sense, right? I mean, you have to be responsible, which means you can't just forget about your debt. But can you? When you focus upon your debt alone and the unpaid bills and the lack of good health or whatever it is, you are in effect expanding these problems in your consciousness and becoming magnetic to the more of the same. It is the most common mistake. I can't find love. You just say, I focusing on that lack of love that you have in your life. And then suddenly this lack of love expands in your life. This is a difficult lesson that every person who decides to create their reality must learn, no matter how unfortunate it may appear. However, as far as the mechanics of manifestation are concerned, it is always avoidable. By far, one of the greatest lessons I've ever learned about manifestation is to focus upon what you want, not what you don't want. This is the quickest way to get rid of your unpaid bills, your debts, your health concerns, and anything else you don't want in your life. It's super easy to get scared when things come up. You might lose your job. Something might happen. You might lose your house. And if you focus on that thing, you're going to get more of it. It's easy. Just think about all the things that you don't want and write down the opposite of each one. If you don't want debt, then you must want abundance. If you don't want bad health, you must want to be healthy and vital. If you don't want to argue with your mate all the time, you must want to be happy and harmonious, right? If you don't want a used, beat-up old car, you must want a shiny new one in perfect condition. If you don't want to be confused, unhappy, and lost, you must want to be confident, upbeat, and determined. This is also a super way of getting started on your manifestation process. Go back to that list that you made, and how many of those things come from what you don't want? Focus on the opposite of that. As we have learned, particularly from the Paul Selig teaching, if we push something down and try to ignore it, we make it bigger and stronger. Just like if there's a dead body in the basement, as Paul Selig had explained, it'll start to smell, right? So these things that we don't want don't just go away. They're influencing us and they're influencing our reality. So sit down and create a list of the things that you don't want to experience. Write down the opposite of each item on the list. Sometimes it's better to write down something that symbolizes the opposite. Again, a great example is debt and unpaid bills. What you want is to have them all paid once and for all. The problem is if you write down no debt and no bills, your attention and energy is still focused on the debt and bills. The universe doesn't get from that no more unpaid bills. The universe gets more unpaid bills, please. You have to be careful where your focal point really is when you want to manifest, and for that matter, even when you don't. You're always putting out a signal, emitting your personal, energetic magnetism and frequency to the universe. So it's always better to be in control of what you're putting out so you can reap rewards of a purposefully constructed life. How do you reword no more unpaid bills into something constructive? You visualize what having no more unpaid bills might look like. If you had no more unpaid bills and no more debt, what would that represent to you? where would you be and what would you be doing? I doubt very much that you'd be doing exactly what you're doing right now. You might just be sitting at home relaxing in the ease and comfort of the magical land of no bills or debt. Most people would probably be taking a big vacation or a break somewhere. In other words, what you really want to do is visualize yourself somewhere above and beyond the mere opposite of where you want to be. I had a good friend that was trying to become a citizen and was very worried that she would not pass the test. And I had her focus on the feeling of already being a citizen, traveling the world as a citizen, all the benefits of being a citizen. And when she changed that, she was able to accomplish her goal. So if you want to imagine having your debts paid, you visualize yourself with extra money to spend. You want to completely take your focus off the unpaid bills and debt. You do this by visualizing what you would do with extra money. This detaches you from the idea of debt and puts your focus on the idea of abundance. After you focus on this art of detachment for a little while, and you master this ability, your life will take on a magical quality. The people I know who are able to practice this art every day lead the most incredible lives. They are always joyous, happy, and free. I'm not exaggerating. I used to wonder how the heck it was these people always seemed to be on vacation somewhere while I was working so hard and struggling in my day-to-day existence. On top of that, they actually had larger monthly expenditures every month. They had a larger mortgage payment. They always had more debts that they paid, but it didn't matter. They all had nice homes, plenty of material items, great relationships, and constantly on vacation. I just couldn't get it until I finally did. They all had one thing in common. They were able to continuously focus upon what they wanted, not what they didn't want. We can always use the metaphor that your life is a garden. It's a great way to illustrate this. If your life were a garden, you would want a garden with only pretty flowers in it, right? You wouldn't want a garden full of weeds. So if there were weeds in this garden, how would you get them out? In this particular garden, the weeds are unpaid bills, debt, bad health, unhappy relationships, or anything else you don't want. The problem is that people try to pull them out by force. However, when you try to pull them out, they only become stronger. Where your attention goes, your energy flows. Your attention is the water. The garden is your life. You only want to water the flowers which represent good health, a happy relationship, abundant finances, a fun career, a nice home. You water the flowers by putting your attention upon the things that you desire. The only way to get rid of the weeds is by starving them out. You do this by simply not watering them with your attention. It's very simple. So when you get home and open the mail to find bills and get upset and frustrated, and you put out an energy about this frustration, focusing on your fear of having to pay the bill, you've just watered the weeds. You take a moment, sit down on the couch, relax, and visualize yourself on a tropical island taking a 1-month vacation, completely carefree. You've just watered the flowers. If you go into the bathroom and find your spouse just left the toilet seat up again and get upset because this happens all the time, no matter what you say about it, you've watered the weeds. If you visualize yourself with your partner smiling and laughing, then you've just watered the flowers. If you feel helpless at the whim of circumstances outside of your control and in a no-win situation, then you're continuously watering some deadly weeds. If you decide it's time to start focusing upon what you want in life and take charge of where your attention goes, then you're getting ready to create the ultimate garden of prosperity. I want to have a brief note about visualization, but I would say to check out my previous episodes on visualization. I have a couple that are pretty good. Visualization in and of itself can also be a standalone tool if you become good enough at it. The clearer the mental picture is in your mind, the more quickly you will manifest the visualized outcome. Your best results from visualization will come from small, short time periods spent visualizing a scenario that symbolizes the successful completion of your manifestation. In other words, if you wanted to manifest a new mate or life partner, you would spend a minute or two visualizing yourself with this other person. Ideally, the scenario would be representative of already having this happy, successful relationship. If you visualize yourself just meeting this person, then you may only just meet them and never actually become intimate. You may only bump into them. However, if you visualize yourself happy and smiling together on a hike in the mountains, holding hands, you're virtually guaranteed of that outcome. As you get better at visualizing, you will soon see how quickly and accurately your manifestation comes to fruition. I know there are some people that struggle with it. Remember, visualizing is not just in the eyes. You can hear what you want, you can feel what you want, you can smell what you want, you can taste what you want. They're all a part of visualizing. I have never personally been that good at visualizing, so I use pictures to help me. If there's something I really want to manifest, I get a visual image to help me speed up the process. I will search on the internet through a dozen images until I find the picture that most closely represents what I want. And I put the picture maybe on my manifestation board or on my phone. And then it just is always there. I'll spend a little time throughout the week meditating upon that picture until I manifest it in my life. I will always use textures and smells and sounds to assist in the visualization process. The more different sensations you can bring into your manifestation will also speed up the process as well. When it comes to allowing your manifestation to come to you, consistency will equal results. Again, I refer back to Abraham Hicks in her book, The Art of Allowing. You could also call it the art of non-resistance. You are really just mastering the ability of not resisting your own highest good. You create momentum by consistently visualizing what it is that you want, not focusing on your fears. And that momentum creates a sort of consistency that creates great results. Anyone can experience being optimistic, believing in something, or focusing on what they want for a minute or two. The challenge is in your ability to do this consistently throughout the day, in your day-to-day life. If you decide you want to manifest a billionaire venture capitalist who wants to fund your new business idea, you would start with stating your intent. You say, with conviction and enthusiasm, I want to meet a billionaire venture capitalist who wants to invest in my business idea. Next, you decide to visualize yourself shaking hands with this person and thanking them for their support in your business. At this point, you're well on your way to manifesting the outcome. The real work may come later after you've spent 4 or 5 days visualizing and still no manifestation. Typically, this stage of the process is where most people begin to sabotage their manifestation. Here are a few of the ways that you might sabotage yourself. You begin to doubt whether or not you're really worthy of having something so great happen to you, or you begin to doubt that this process will work for you. You may wonder if it's unrealistic, or you suddenly change your mind or wonder if you should be doing something else instead. You begin to worry that it will take too long, or you will lose your focus. You suddenly fear that you are unprepared to receive this manifestation. This usually has to do with worthiness. However, it can also have to do with feeling like you're physically unprepared. You make the mistake of listening to other people's ideas and limiting beliefs about your intended manifestation. Do not do this. Don't ask your advice. Don't talk to anyone else, because they will always say something. It could be a single phrase that will undermine your beliefs. Ideally, if you've done the work at the beginning, you will already have removed some of these potential obstacles and self-sabotaging mechanisms. But even if you find yourself grappling with these distractions, just remain consistent and stay detached from the outcome while allowing your manifestation to show up in its own time and in its own way. If you do this, you will manifest your desired outcome. Remember, consistency equals results. Anytime you allow yourself to think in limited or negative, fear-based terms, you may slow down or even halt your manifestation. Therefore, it is well worth the effort to become disciplined in your approach to manifesting. It will reap amazing results. You are worthy of having whatever you want. You're not doing penance for any sort of karmic retribution from a past lifetime that will stop you from what you want to experience in any way. Your point of power is in this moment, right here and right now. From this moment, all the power of creation rests in the palm of your hand to create your reality exactly the way you want it. You are free to create whatever you want. Say out loud to yourself, I am now free to do whatever I want with my life. Say it again. I am now free to do whatever I want with my life. It is true. Detach from seeing the outcome of your intended manifestation. Do this by staying focused upon what you want, not what you don't want. In any moment throughout the day, you can always stop and ask yourself, what am I focused upon in this moment? This does not mean staying focused upon the outcome of your intended manifestation. Rather, this means not allowing yourself to get drawn into the negative circumstances while in the process of expecting and allowing your manifestation. For example, if you're in traffic and becoming irritated, don't allow it to bother you. Doing so will lower your vibrational rate of attraction. If you're unclear about what you want to create in your life, then a great starting point is by figuring out what you don't want. Be consistent. Create a routine every day where you spend some time focused upon what you want in your life. Start your day with meditation, then affirmation, then a 1-minute visualization, focusing upon your desired manifestation. I personally spend about 20 minutes every day meditating, maybe 5 minutes in affirmations. I do a lot of affirmations while I'm driving or if I'm working out, because it always feels good to affirm when I'm doing a physical activity. And I do short little bursts of visualization throughout the day. The final step that is very important, that is often ignored, is to take action. It's the final step in the art of manifestation. You may mistakenly believe that you do not need to take any action whatsoever to manifest something in your life. This belief stems from a misinterpretation about all the information circling through the masses right now about the law of attraction and manifestation. If when your manifestation arrives, you do not take action, you will not achieve your desired outcome. You might be confusing the concept of manifestation with the concept of an earth master or somebody who can literally create with a mere thought about something. You may have experimented around with small stuff like manifesting parking spots in the front of the grocery store. You may have even gotten pretty good at it and always get your front spot by visualizing it or feeling it. You might be in the first stages of creating a faulty belief system, however. If you're thinking that all you need to do is sit around and think about it, you are and already have been taking the action of looking for parking spots every single day. Quite literally, if you're using the power of manifestation to create a parking space in front of a store, you're doing it on the way to wherever it is you're going, you're driving, you are taking action. The law of attraction has the word action in it. And in many cases, if it's a big manifestation, taking a bold action, because it symbolizes your faith in the process that you're working in. That's what I found. Take a bold action that shows I can do this. Make an investment. Spend some extra time. Do what you need to do. The universe favors a body in motion. It favors the person taking action. You don't need to take unnecessary action. Usually if you look at the situation and the amount of energy that's expended to acquire what it is, there's usually one option that's the easiest of the options. Flow with that one. You don't have to be working hard on it. I'm not saying that you need to work hard. I'm saying that you need to take some sort of action. You can create the ultimate life for yourself. You really can. And you can create anything that you want. You have the power to do whatever you want. By understanding these simple steps in the process from someone that's gone through the process of creating reality, hopefully I have made it easier for you. Everybody's different, and manifestation is an art. It's just like painting. Everybody has their own styles, their own techniques. It's really an amazing process to learn about yourself. And in the process of creating your reality, you move beyond just reality creation and you move towards a desire to understand the original creator. And in that process, you understand the self and your relationship to the universe. And it's an amazing thing. So this process of learning about your thoughts and how you create realities is a part of the process of becoming one with the creator. And you can do this. I just want you to know that whatever it is that you want to achieve, if you want it, if you truly want it, you will have it. There are no limits. All things are possible. All potentialities exist for you. So let me know where you're at in your manifestation process. Tell me about it. Tell me what place you're at in it. Are you focusing on something because of a fear or because it's something that you want? Are you visualizing it? Are you taking an action towards it? Follow the process that I've outlined in this episode, and the options are unlimited for you. I am sending out all the love and light to everyone that's listening, knowing that you're going to live the most amazing life and create the most amazing realities once you've isolated what it is you truly want, and you've moved away from the fears of what it is that you don't want. I can see each of you listening in an amazing, loving relationship, in an abundant life with vital, radiant health for each of you. And I'm so excited to see this for everyone. You can find all episodes of The Reality Revolution at therealityrevolution.com. And welcome to The Reality Revolution.